Now, GameStop's at a very important level as to if we're going to be trending to the upside or crashing down to the downside, guys. We've gapped down, like we covered in the last GameStop video, from the bad news. We've continued to sell off, and we found support at this ascending support. We've consolidated between this 24 and this $22.49 level. And now the question is, as since we are at the bottom of this range, are we crashing back down to this ascending support, possibly that $20.80 level, or are we going to trend higher, breaking out of this range, trying to fill that gap up? Now, guys, starting this breakdown on the weekly time frame, we see that GameStop had that very giant run to that $120 level, and it's a very volatile stock as you'll see these big run-ups and these big sell-offs, and that's how a lot of these low-cap stocks perform, guys. This is what AMC does, BBAI, etc. They like these big runs up and big sell-offs, so this is no stranger to it. If you guys follow GameStop and you follow the channel, we cover that GameStop likes to have these big runs up and sell-offs. So from that $120 level, we get in this descending type of formation, guys. We have these big sell-offs, have these big buyouts. We get in this descending wedge, break out all the way to that $64 level. And from there, guys, we couldn't hold that price. Price gets shot back down. We try to retest that. We only get to 48. And then price tries to get back to that $48 level. We cannot. We go lower, get into this pennant-like formation, breakout, hit that $35 level. And then we see that drastic sell-off from the bad news that GameStop had as they had trouble with sales. They've invested into Bitcoin, which a lot of shareholders thought was a bad move and scared them out. So we saw this drastic sell-off, guys. Few things causing this bad news. We come all the way from that $35 level, crashing down at this $22 level, finding support on this ascending support here. So a lot of things going on with GameStop, guys, but the real question, and a lot of you guys want to find out, is are we headed back to the top of this range, right? Reclaiming that $29 level, ultimately retesting that 35, or are we going to break this ascending support once and for all and trend lower, guys, as the $18 level kind of has held up. As you see, we get that bounce there, get that bounce there, and it really has held up quite nicely. But if we see this continued sell-off, would we be headed back there? Now, we're going to go on the daily chart and get a closer eye view and see what we can see here, guys. All right, guys, on the daily chart, after price got that sell-off, we see price come back up to that $34 level. We get that double top, right? 1, 2. And from there, guys, sellers gain that control, pushing us down, keeping us to the bottom of this range here, guys. We're not, bouncing around up and top. In this descending range, we stay towards the bottom up until we get that gap up towards the bottom of that range, and boom, test the top of that range, get quickly shut down, and we reach towards the bottom of that range, and then we hit the bottom of that range, tapping that $20 level. And from that $20 level, guys, we get that nice bounce up, volatile swing up, super tight consolidation, right? And so let's try to push us out of this as, a little bit of back and forth, but buyers are getting very tight as this entire thing was a very volatile move, guys. Lots of chop, lots of volatility up until this point where we get really, really tight. Sellers try to push us lower, buyers buy it back up. Then we get in another tight range, right? An apex-like range, building this energy as volume is starting to ascend. And then we get that big breakout all the way to that $35 level. And we see a sharp sell-off mirroring the move that we made. And once again, guys, we get in one of those, consolidation / energy building phases. So we got up in this, got tight with this ascending support and this resistance here. Kind of just squeeze out of that, and then someone has to win. Buyers either push it back up higher for a retest, or sellers push it lower. Sellers won that fight, mixed with an energy building phase as well as bad news. Perfect recipe to push us down, and that's what we get. We get pushed down below that $29 level and gap down from that very bad news. And a lot of people thought after that major sell-off as well as bad news, we'd be headed for that $18 level, or at least that $20 level, but that ascending support holds up. Hit that for one daily candle and we bounce right back up. So that was a very good sign for the short term for the buyers, guys. We said that it's not good seeing that type of price action get knocked down that hard, but we noted that, we hit that ascending support for one day, only testing it once, and we get right back up, which is a nice, move for the buyers, as well as we are in this ascending type of formation. But then sellers step back in, guys, seeing 1, 2 red candles with a nice wide red bar, pushing us right to that $22 support. So you can see bottom there, 1, 2, 3. So that's the third test, and we've just closed now. Fourth test of that support, and it seems like we are holding up here, guys. So in the short term, we still remain slightly bullish, although we can't deny that very drastic sell-off and horrible news, guys. But what we're seeing here is some strong support. See 22 hold up, and this is a newer consolidation range as chopped around a little bit here, guys. But overall, this is a entry or exit pathway. And now we see a bit of consolidation. So that is some new price action, especially if we chop around for a few more days and try to squeeze out of that, descending range. That'd be some new price action here, guys, as this is really just a formation where we get the upside or we get the downside. A little bit of chop there, a little bit of chop there, but for the most part, guys, we don't play around in this range. So with the descending volume, and if we do get a bit tighter, guys, I think in the short term, we can expect some more consolidation between 24 and 22, ultimately trying to move back up, given how, we've bounced off that ascending support and how nice that $22 level is holding as support, guys, right? Bounce, 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 bounce. So we do get a very drastic red candle. We have a doji candle to end off of, so a little bit neutral here, right? Lots of back and forth as we see buyers try to push us up after that, horrible sell-off, but sellers step in here. If this $22 level can hold, we are looking nice to retest that 24 like we did here and, actually break through it and break through this descending channel that we got back into. But keep your eyes on that 22 to hold. If we do get pushed back down to that ascending support, we'll need that to hold. So if you're a bear, watch for price to come back down on this ascending support. And if we break through that ascending support, looking a lot more better for the bears in the short term, as they would probably push it to that $20 level and possibly even that 18. But as a buyer, if we can hold at 22 and push higher, guys, ultimately breaking out of this range here and breaking above 24.45, we're looking very good to get back in this consolidation zone, break through this range, guys, getting back in this, major consolidation chop zone, especially considering the chop that we had here. Definitely would be looking pretty nice for, a retest of that $29 level and getting in these more, tight consolidation ranges. For the short term, we are looking for a bounce on that 22, a continue move up, break out of that range, break above that 24.45, where we could gain some more momentum and propel us to, this consolidation range between 29 and 25, that very wide range where we could see some nice consolidation, energy building phase, and then a move above that $29 level. And for the sellers, watch for a continued move down as we've gotten that very drastic gap down and sell off. Watch for a move back to that ascending support, ultimately breaking that ascending support, as that's been a very nice zone for us, guys. It's really held up for some time, so crash through that zone definitely wouldn't be looking good for the buyers once again. So keep that in mind. Watch that break of that 22 and that break of that very major ascending support. All right, guys, on the hourly, we see that gap down from that bad news. And first thing I want to point out is look at 1-2 tests of that ascending support. Boom, back up. Only 2 tests on the hourly showing how strong that support is. And then from that, we see a nice move up. Sellers try to push us down. We hold higher, creating a higher low. Move up, higher low, and then sellers try to step in here, giving us a lower low from that low right there, guys. And then once again, kind of ascending, higher low. And from this point, seeing how fast we were bouncing off a major support level, how we were really ascending here in a stair step like fashion, you would think that we would break right through that 24, right through that descending channel. But that doesn't happen, guys. We get a little bit pressure from the sellers and we kind of stall at this point. We reject off that, $24, $45 level, and we kind of stall up a little bit, kind of just trend sideways. And then we see that move back down all the way to the floor of that $22 level, guys, at $22.49 level. And then we hold really tight here. So what you want to see as a buyer is a bounce here, continue move up, retesting that 24.45. And for a seller, guys, you want to see that break. As we've gotten that nice sell-off, we've gotten sideways tight. You want to see that breakthrough and, testing back at that ascending support. So you want to see this break down. Test here, buyers are going to look for that bounce up. But as a seller, you want to see breaking that, getting to that $20 level where you'd want to break through that, because after that, we got that little bit of support at 1871. And further from that, guys, if you look on the monthly, really don't have a lot holding us up past that point, guys. But we really would be headed, if we're marking this up, the closer support zone would be that $10.94 level. Really not that much holding us back. You could argue the wicks of this candle, at $15, $16 level. But in the grand scheme of things, if we did break that 18, would be looking very bad for GameStop, as GameStop's very prone to be getting in these longer term descending ranges here. So watch that to hold. Watch for buyers to regain that control. If they cannot, would be looking at some continued price action to the downside. That's all I got for you guys today. If you enjoyed and want to see more GameStop content, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment your price predictions below. What do you guys think GameStop's going to do? What are your predictions from the point that we are at right now, trending at that $22.75 level? And as always, trade smart, and I will see you all in the next one.